Jason Mafa. I'm the Gender and Strategies Officer at CNRG. Our work at CNRG is helping and training communities to defend their rights. Communities that are staying or that are located in mining areas or areas where their natural resources okay. So my work as a gender and strategies officer is to work with women. It's around working with women in the mining communities. We have two types of women. I would like to classify them. The ones who are working in mines and the ones who are staying in the communities. These women face different kind of problems. The women who are working in mines, those who are employed by big mining companies, face problems of sexual exploitation, pay gaps, because of the nature of their work and because it's a male-dominated industry. Then the women who are trying to branch out as small-scale miners also face problems. Our law is very clear on equal opportunities. Section 56 of the Constitution says that the government should ensure that there's no discrimination, there's equality of sexes. But the problem comes on the practicality of it on the ground. Because when the process of applying for a license on its own, for any license of especially gold, is very simple, but the financing aspect of it, most finance institutions require collateral which women do not possess. So they try to get into consortiums, etc., to try to get funding, but sometimes it does not work. Then also, mining is a very political field. So for you to be able to get into and operate freely and profitably, you need to belong to some political, the dominant political party in that area. So women end up joining politics because they just want to work. So women face a lot of problems when they're trying to access markets with their minerals. For example, in gold, it is more profitable to sell gold in the black market than via Fidelity, because sometimes the payments are slow and sometimes some part payments are made in the local RTG. So sometimes they want to sell in the black market, which is very risky and quite violent for them. So because of those factors, most women are not motivated to get into mining on its own. So what they do is they end up in engaging in selling of sads, selling of clothes around the mining area, and sometimes selling of sex, but they don't really engage in the mining. They do, but that is why if you are financially proper and politically connected. Then we have women who are staying in mining communities, those ones who are not involved in the mining or not employed in the mining, but they face the consequences of mining in their areas. So for women who are farming in mining areas, they have conflicts on a daily basis with Magweja and with Makorokoza when they are trying to farm in their areas, and Makorokoza are also trying to get into that. We have problems of environmental degradation, problems of water pollution, air pollution, and this affects women the most because women are the caregivers at household level. And if there are any injuries or any problems like water pollution, it is the women who are at the first line of defense. And the weird part of that is women are the most affected by effects of mining, but they are at the back seat of the benefits that mining brings. So there's a misbalance there because they don't really participate, as I mentioned earlier, and also because of the politics of mining. I think if we're going to be mentioning a few areas like Marangi, where there's diamond mining, most of the people employed by the companies there are men. When people were moved to Ada, the compensation was given to men of the household, but the people who are facing the consequences of that movement and staying in a protected area are women. And we move on to a place like Penalonga, where there are more small-scale miners and we're in contracts with big companies. Women also participate, yes, but their participation is also linked to who do you know? The political figure that you need to be connected to some kind of power for you to be able to operate freely and sell freely. So at the end of the day, women are really at the back. Even in mining companies, they're employed, but they do menial jobs, like cleaning, secretarial work, etc. There are very few women who are occupying large spaces. Even when you get to government, if you get to government, even the deployment of the government structure, there are policies, of course, that encourage women to participate, but the practicalities of it, we do not have policies that are supporting So we say to a woman, you can apply for a mining license, you can get it, but what about the financing aspect of it? Most banks want collateral, and collateral sometimes title deeds. Title deeds are in the name of the husband most of the times. So it's difficult for women to actively participate in those spaces, and it's so difficult for them to stand up on their own to demand from the government. So what we do is, that's where we come in, we train them what the constitution says, what the acts are saying, and how they can engage and lobby for better working spaces, better communities. That's where we come in as CNRG. So currently we're working with women in Wange, lobbying against coal dust, and we're very happy that we've got some response from EMA. We're working with women in Marange who are living in a protected area. You know, in Marange, they're not able to move freely without interference from the security forces. When you're moving around, they ask for your ID, and the ID has to have the code of Marange. And most women are married into Marange, which means you took your ID where you were originally born. So you need to prove that you're not in that is now minor for them to release you. Sometimes they spend like a day, you know, being held by the soldiers, and it's quite difficult. And sometimes they end up offering things, you know, for them to be released or for them to be allowed to sell their things. We also have the same situations in Penalonga, in Shishabane, in Shurubi. It's really the same. So we're just working to make noise around the plight of women in the mining areas, so that they on their own feel empowered to stand up. And we are hoping that this election time is a time where we can engage with aspiring candidates, those ones who want to be MP, for them to be in touch with the problems that people are facing on the ground, especially in communities where mining is happening, so that in their manifestos and when they win and go to parliament, they'll be able to present practical and real issues of what's happening on the ground. So we are trying to empower women to engage with their political leaders and those who are aspiring candidates, to tell them their demands for when they win and when they go to parliament.